Hello, everyone. I'm Meena Gopal. Welcome to Global Express. This is our interaction with experts where we deconstruct and focus on stories and developments in our backyard and our immediate neighborhood, of course, and beyond. Click on the New Indian Express website and tweet and follow Global Express. So, as Pakistan goes to the polls on February 8th, everyone's watching the extremely serious charges being laid at Imran Khan's door. It's not just espionage and leaking state secrets anymore, but the validity of his marriage to his third wife, Bushra Bibi. There are no prizes, of course, for guessing who's going to win this general election 2024 on February 8th. Bilawal Bhutto's claims of becoming the next prime minister cannot be taken seriously. The clear frontrunner is former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. He's faced much the same situation in the last polls. In 2018, he was in jail, facing extremely serious health issues, and Imran Khan was the toast of the army. So there are persistent reports, of course, of serious threats to the election. Imran Khan could once again unleash the mobs as he did when he was going to be arrested in May. I mean, all of this, of course, are also unconfirmed reports of a split within the Sharif family, sorry, and speculation on the breakaway elements of Imran Khan's former party, the Tehreek-e-Insaf, which is now led by Jahangir, Tareen, and Aleem Khan, becoming the army's unseen hand that will keep the Sharifs in check in a coalition government. There's talk of a new party emerging from the Muslim League Nawaz. We don't know. The questions that are being asked, all of them, again and again, is that will the new parliament even complete its tenure? And Nawaz, who has never completed any of his previous tenures, remain the prime minister for a full 5 years, and make it a legacy issue. So, but Imran Khan's popularity can't be denied. I mean, his sacking, which was being laid at America's door by insiders like Jeffrey Sachs, are saying that he could engineer a political comeback, maybe do a deal with the army, but we don't know whether that is speculation or the truth. But the shadow of the army over this election is unmistakable. If the politicians don't play the game, play by their rules, army rule could be where it's headed, or another game of musical chairs, another hybrid government. India has been burnt by Imran's contradictory politics. It's hoping for sure for a Nawaz return, we presume, even if the February 8th is just another farce. So, talking to us today is Avinash Mohanane, a former intelligence bureau officer who served in Pakistan and tracks India-Pakistan relations very, very closely. Thank you very much, Mr. Mohanani, for being on the show. You must be pleased that both the high commissions have now come to some kind of arrangement that visas will be issued for, at least staff to return, if not the high commission. Joining us later will be renowned Pakistani journalist and podcaster, an investigative journalist, Mubashir Lokman, who has played many roles in Pakistan, both as the man who's launched 4 television channels. He's also worked in government as a minister and advisor to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. And his podcasts are known to be, biting and quite truthful. Welcome, Mr. Mubashir Lakman. So Pakistan's been called a hard country, particularly it's tested its politicians, elected, selected. They've all faced jails, they've faced coups. Rarely has the civilian government been allowed to complete its full term. And this applies as much to Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, to his daughter Benazir, as it does to Mia Nawaz Sharif and even President General Musharraf, who was forced to step down in 2008. And now, of course, Imran Khan, handpicked in 2018 to cut Nawaz to down to size. Uh, could you tell us a little bit about that, Mr. Monani? What is it that drives the army to take such a lead role in this country, even after elections, which, genuine elections, the last general election was supposed to be in 1970. But even then, I mean, Benazir Bhutto won a election, so did Nawaz Sharif. What is it that drives the army to, topple these governments or put away the civilians back into their boxes?
Thank you very much, Nina, for having me on the show. Uh, Problem that Pakistan faces is that one, it took a lot of time for the country to formulate a constitution, and then thereafter the army took over very easily, very comfortably in 1958, and since then there have been three major spells of army rule, and civilians rule. Civilian also have ruled the country, but civilians have always been at the receiving end of the army. They hardly complete their term, except for the 5 years of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto from 1971 to and 1977. No prime minister has completed the full term. The problem that army dominance in the electoral politics is that from the beginning, from the very beginning, Pakistan launched an attack on India in Jammu and Kashmir, and that has militarized the state and made it a security state. It suited perfectly with the international interlocutors that time. The first army takeover was by and large approved by the Americans.
Yeah, Ayub
So,
Khan.
yeah, Ayub Khan's takeover. Because if we see around that time, the CIA and MI6 had toppled government in Iran also. Mossadegh was removed and Shah was brought back
That's right.
in
That's
power.
right.
So
Yes.
it was a general policy there that time that to keep the communism away or keep the, because democracy unleashes a lot of forces. So keep those forces controlled. It's better to deal with the single window organization where you can dictate the terms and give whatever they want, some military support or some economic support. So this is how the army became bigger than its size,
Yeah, yeah. Mr. Bhopani, but
constitutionally.
isn't that has been true so all these years? But why did the I mean, there's a very strong report now by Jeffrey Sachs, the U.S. Insider to beat all insiders, who's now accused America of exactly what Imran Khan has been accusing America of interfering in in Pakistan and getting this no confidence motion passed, which got him, which basically got him out of power, which voted him out of power. So America's role continues in Pakistan, so to speak, really, or are the
Absolutely.
other forces also involved?
Yes, yes, yes.
What did
America
Imran
would
Khan do
remain.
wrong?
Yeah, what Imran Khan did wrong was that he angered all three important countries that control the geostrategic vision of Pakistan. Number one, he angered United States. He criticized the US policies in Afghanistan.
He
Then
did.
in 2021, when the US was withdrawing, he even called the withdrawal of US troops as the unshackling of chains by the Taliban. So these all didn't go down well. He was very unhelpful to Americans at that time. Then on February 24, 2022, he was present in Moscow when
Yes.
the aggression was launched. Now, these things don't go well with the Americans. Maybe it was by chance. I don't say that he deliberately went there as a pre-arranged program, but
But no
his,
Pakistani prime minister has made a big deal of visiting Russia in the past.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So he could have cut short his visit and come back because of the
Hmm.
aggression. Otherwise,
Hmm.
the Ukraine
But he
war was,
also called, I believe, for neutrality by Pakistan and other states
yes, yes.
in the
In
Ukraine
fact,
war.
in
People should be
fact,
should be.
when the sorry. In fact, when the 23 European ambassadors in Pakistan wrote a letter to him, open letter, and they said that, look, you have to support the US and allies in the UN on the Ukraine vote. So he openly said, am I a slave? I can't take dictation from these European countries. Now, he doesn't realize that the maximum export of Pakistan is to US and European countries.
I see.
It has an unbalanced trade with China. China hardly imports anything from Pakistan.
That's interesting.
So its entire economy is being run by the US and the European countries. So his
And
recklessness.
don't the two Gulf countries also play a role? Saudi Arabia and the UAE. I mean, they also
Yes,
are
yes,
hugely
yes,
invested in Pakistan's,
yes. They were far more interested earlier, but now they are not very sure that the Pakistan can recover from the crisis that it is in. Saudis have a lot of money, and the UAE also has a lot of money. They want to invest in Pakistan, but the problem is that instability of the regimes. If somebody comes and raises issues on corruption and in the deals, like China was angered. The China-Pakistan economic corridor work came to a standstill when Imran Khan was in power, because Imran Khan blamed Sharif brothers of taking money from Chinese companies. That puts the
completely
uh,
fabricated charges.
yeah, that causes problem for the China, because this is a CPEC was a flagship project under the BRI.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, Belt and Road Initiative. So
Yeah.
if there are allegations that Chinese companies are paying bribes, then
Yeah.
it's China's policy on BRI that goes for a six.
That's true. That's true. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I think
And
that Imran Khan made a couple of definitely he was like a. I mean, I know history is repeating itself in the sense that every time any of these elected leaders or selected leaders sort of shift from the path that is laid down by the army, so to speak, they do pay a price. But in Imran Khan's case, I
absolutely.
think he messed up not just domestic policy but also foreign policy. But he does seem to be immensely popular still, and doesn't that sort of cast a shadow on the election? Because then the role that the popularity that he has, that he continues to have, whether the election was fixed in 2018 or not, he is now, I mean, if he stood for elections today, I don't know whether the results would be. I'm sure the results would be in his favor. Don't you think so?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you totally. And you don't have to go into any survey or talk to anybody. The disproportionate crackdown on PTI, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, and Imran Khan is a clear manifestation that army fears that he has a large following, and these large
Hmm.
followings can turn into votes on February
Hmm.
8th, and that votes can completely topple what these people are the army is thinking about. Okay.
So basically, the point you're making is that even though they don't have a party, that hi Mubashir, welcome to the program.
Sure.
So Avinash, if we can pick up on that, so you're basically saying that the Imran Khan's, the party, the people who are standing from the PTI who cannot be stand represent the PTI are a force of will become a force post the election. Could be,
Yes,
or will
yes.
they even be allowed to contest as independents?
uh, yeah, they will contest as independence, because now the election commission has not given the bat symbol to the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, so those all are independent. Now that lot of independents, which will be presumably will be a good chunk, that will be in the hands of army to decide on whom finally to make the prime minister of the country, or where to put all those eggs into that which basket. And
That's interesting.
the decision may not be taken totally in Rawalpindi. Yeah, the decision would also be made in Washington, in Saudi Arabia, and in Beijing.
Abu Dhabi.
They would,
Oh,
they
Beijing.
would, Beijing also. If the army gives guarantee, they can make anybody as prime minister. There is no issue at all.
So if I can bring you in, Mubashir Lukman, do you get the sense of this deja vu that that we're all experiencing? That in 2018, here was Nawaz Sharif in jail, and Imran Khan was the toast of the army. Right now, these roles are reversed. Do you feel that that casts a shadow on the on the elections itself? Will it be seen as a farce, or will it be seen as a real election?
First of all, Nina, thank you very much for having me. And second, I can tell you one thing that I'm 60 years old now and I've not witnessed an election in Pakistan that has not been questionable. So if it was not questioned, I mean, I would be very surprised. So I've never seen an election, that did not have some shouts of whatever. Now, there is one thing that people usually after the elections, they cry and, sort of scream around that, we've been cheated out. But this time around, sadly, or in whatever capacity, I mean, people have started blaming the pre-election. And what we are witnessing now is the pre-election rigging, as the parties are saying. Even Bilawal is talking about that. Pakistan Tariq Insaf is talking about that, and many other
That's
things.
very interesting.
Yeah. And so
That's a
that's
good
a new,
phrase.
yeah, for a new for us. Now, uh, I don't know what would I call, but I mean, honestly, I was very close to Imran Khan at one time for about 14 years. And, I was extremely, I used to write his speeches, and
Mm,
everybody knows that. So, and he has nobody else to blame except himself. And the
yeah.
reason why Imran is in jail right now is because he never really contested any of the cases. And his lawyers have been busy on TikTok and social media and trying to get tickets in the elections and all that, and making a name for themselves. I have
Mm.
not seen any representation of the lawyers for Imran Khan. I'll give you an
Is that
example.
deliberate? Is that deliberate, or is it a game that's being played? What is this? I don't
That's the
understand.
way they have been. Imran has always been reactive. He's never been proactive. And
Ah,
even when he's proactive, he's being reactive, actually. It's very sad. Now, I'll give you an example that it has been over a month now that he was first sentenced in the Tosha Khana case,
yes.
for
14
taking the,
years.
yeah. Uh, he's not filed an appeal as yet. I mean, he's talking about it, his lawyers are talking about, and there's a time limit. And once that time limit lapses, then he's cooked for good. It's as simple as that, because he has to come and face the law the way law has to be faced. Now, you
Mm.
may have serious objections to a certain number of judges or the judiciary or whatever, but that's the way to go about it. There is no other way. I mean, you have to get past, those stumbling blocks and speed breakers. So
But
right
the
now,
espionage case itself, Mubashir, is very interesting because now Jeffrey Sachs, who is the ultimate insider in Washington, has actually endorsed every charge that Imran Khan has made. That about Donald Lu meeting your charge d'affaires in Washington and saying that this no confidence motion is the best way to get rid of him. And he's been charged for leaking that classified document. He's been charged. He's now sentenced to 10 years. And then on top of it all is this new accusation or charges, if you like, which questions the validity of his marriage to his third wife. And she was the mover and shaker apparently behind, his whole electoral
now the
or his real
problem is that,
governance. Are we getting it
I
wrong?
no, the problem is that there are three different things that you've asked together. Let me try and ease it out. And the problem is that anybody can say that Imran Khan's charges are correct. I mean, I'm not going to dispute that. Those charges may be correct and those charges may not be correct. But having said that, the charge is not that his charges are correct or false. The charge is of
Hmm.
leaking a cipher and stealing it, and that cipher is missing from official custody. and some or the other, it lands in America with a publication called Intercept, and they start publishing it.
That's
So
right.
the different actually. The charge is not whether that meeting took place or not, or what transpired in that meeting. The charge is of leaking out an official document under the Official Secrecy Act. That is one. The other thing is his wife has been a mover and shaker, and I can give you an insight that his wife and his sisters have been daggers drawn, and both wanted to control the party, the Popular
Hmm.
Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. And
Yeah.
now I'm also not clear about one thing, and I'm confused, I have to admit. So
Hmm.
he married her twice, actually, according to the Islamic Sharia. He had nikah twice, marriage vows. So the first one we know is cancelled, and he's been sentenced in that, and she's been sentenced in that. I still am not sure whether the second one stands cancelled or not, and whether they are still married or not. And if she's not married to him anymore, then how come she's under house arrest in his house? Under what law? I can't have somebody house arrested in your home, especially if we are not related and all that. So there are too many unanswered questions right now, which I think will get the answers, because even today is a public holiday. And I couldn't get hold of a lot of people who could have advised me, especially lawyers and some former judges. So I'm clueless over there, honestly.
So if I
Whether
can
the
just
marriage.
come back to you, Mr. Maulana, just for a second.
Yeah.
The whole, do you believe that the cardinal error that Imran Khan made was not just the espionage case and the Tosha Kala case and all of this, but the fact that he gave the green signal for the public anger that was when he was about to be arrested. I mean, the fact that army installations and the homes of these generals were attacked. I mean, was that the spark that set it off? And I mean, Nawaz Sharif did none of those things, and he was still. I mean, he apparently was intent on getting Musharraf. Sort of get his comeuppance. But do you think this was the error of judgment that he made, apart from all of those Russia and Ukraine and all of that? This
Yeah.
was the final move.
The the problem with Imran is that he's very reckless. Mubashir will be better to answer that question, that he's reckless or not, because he has worked with him. When this his arrest took place, the kind of violence that was unleashed in against the army installations was unprecedented in Pakistan. It's absolutely no army can take that violence. And he will bear me out. Army carried out its inside inquiry also, and they dismissed one lieutenant general, two, I think, major generals, and several senior officers. So if
That's
army
true.
is so serious about the violence that happened on May 9 and 10, then how they can leave the instigators and the perpetrators and those behind the violence? So our army can't get it out of it right now, that this is what
So there
Imran did
can
to them.
be so there can be no meeting ground between Imran Khan and the army, is what you're saying, what you're implying. And if I can come back to you, Mubashir, do you think that there could be violence on the day of the polling? I mean, or when the results are declared, which is
Yeah,
what a lot of people are saying, because the army chief,
yeah.
General Asim Munir, is reported to have issued a very strong warning. Will Imran Khan unleash the mobs again?
The problem is that the previous time, and one, I mean, the gentleman is right. Imran is absolutely reckless, and that's an understatement. I mean, he's more than reckless. But the thing is that there is a lot of substantial evidence that Imran and some of his key people planned the espionage of May 9th. And, when they
Oh,
attacked, it wasn't just the Corps Commander's house, it was also the GHQ, it was also some air bases. There are about, I think, if I'm not wrong, 187 places that, it was carried out. And then there
yes.
were audios and videos that were intercepted and, later produced as evidence that this all was planned out, and members of the party, or some members answering to them, were actually given reconnaissance tours of the places that they were supposed to go and attack if and when that happens, and which they did. So right now, obviously, There is absolutely zero tolerance for that, Nina. And I can tell you that even if we want to forget, the military establishment does not want us to forget what happened on May 9th. And, they want us to remember what transpired and they want to make sure that it never happens again.
Mm,
Now,
mm.
having said
He crossed
that,
the red line.
yeah, no, 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 no. Nawaz crossed a red line. Even Asif
Okay.
Zardari crossed a red line. He crossed all the lines and he drew his own red lines and crossed them again. So I mean, he's way ahead of anybody. Now, having
What
said
was
that,
Asif Zardari's red line?
remember when he got up against Musharraf and he said, "You guys are here for 3 years and we are here forever, and we're
Oh,
going to answer a stake with a stake and a stone with a stone and stuff like that." That was a serious red line that he had crossed at that time.
yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah.
but the funny part in Pakistan politics is that everything can happen at any given time. It is the art of the impossible in our country. I mean, I could have bet with you 3 years back that there is no way Nawaz Sharif will be back, let alone become the
Hmm.
prime minister, let alone be the
In
premier
fact, that's
candidate.
the question I wanted to ask you. What is it that have made the Sharifs agree to such a deal? I mean, Nawaz Sharif, who vowed, he's given me interviews where he's raged and ranted against Musharraf. So, what is it that has made him come back? Is it the US pushing for him? Was it the UAE and Saudi Arabia which trusts him? Imran Khan clearly doesn't have the skills to lead a nation. Nawaz Sharif does. That's
Nina,
a
with
given.
all due respect, Imran Khan has given a lease of life to Sharif and Zardari both, and all
Uh,
the Imran haters. He took things to a point where, I mean, everybody else was acceptable except him. That is where he
mm,
took and he left them over there. And by the way, Nawaz Sharif was not influenced by US or anybody. He was influenced by his own political maneuvering, because when he became the choice, then he started dictating and he started
mm,
controlling him and get that he wants this and he doesn't want that. And so now he's become all powerful in that area. I mean, because Imran, by his reckless nature, has sort of made everybody else a friend of each other. So now, if Imran wants things to reverse, that's the bottom line. Let's say 15 months from now or 2 years from now, Imran must shake hands with those that he's always shunned away. Those are the political parties and the political people, the media, the establishment, the judiciary, the legal fraternity, everyone. He must not be a narcissist this time around. Otherwise, it's a very bad ending for him. If he wants to come out of it and he wants to play a role again in the near future, then he has to recognize that, this is the 21st century and this is the age of coexistence or no existence.
That's a good point. If I can come back to you, Avinash, what do you think, what do you believe made Mr. Nawaz Sharif agree to the deal? Agree to, to actually swallow his pride, so to speak, and come back?
Yeah, the problem that Nawaz Sharif was facing was that he was in exile. He had cases against him from the Panama leaks, etc. So he had to agree because he wanted all those cases, the National Accountability Bureau cases to be dropped, all corruption cases to be dropped, so that he can come back to his own country. He has been overstaying in UK for a long time. So then he wants that power to remain inside his family. Nobody wants to give up power from outside the family. So if he can't become prime minister, then Shahbaz can become. If Shahbaz can't become, then Mariam can become. So he has to decide the political lineage also, who will be the important players in Pakistan from his family. So that is why he has got deal. And but this time he will be far more weak prime minister if he becomes prime minister. Then he was like in the last term. So for him now it will be very difficult to take a bold decision. Take the case of example of his talking of friendly relations with India, because that is very
Hmm.
crucial to us.
Hmm.
So, but
Yeah,
how
in
much he
fact,
will?
it's very interesting that India has not used Pakistan as a whipping boy for this coming election. You know, I mean, there have been attacks in Rajouri and Poonch, pretty dire consequences for all those people living there. I mean, the army and all that. And yet, India has not made a big noise about it. So, do you think there's some kind of, tamping down from both sides?
Yeah, you are right,
That,
Nina, because you see that those attacks have been very serious, and the attacks come very close from the Pakistan's border or the line of control with us. So, in those attacks, when we lose people, the one option is that we go to the international interlocutors that have helped establish the ceasefire on the line of control and the international border. So UAE played a big role in ensuring that. And of course, UAE can't do it without the blessings from Washington.
hmm,
So now our case would be resting with the UAE and the US. That look,
that's very
this is
interesting.
what is happening. This is what is happening. So they would use their own leverage on the military leadership as also the new political leadership. Right now, there is a lot of uncertainty. No political leader or military leadership would be ready to engage with India. But
Mubashir, if I
once,
can come to you. Sorry, finish your point.
no, just once our elections are over, then the picture will be clear. Pakistan's elections will be over on February 8th, but our elections are still 3 months away.
In May, yes, that's true. Mubashir, if I can come to you, do you think that the Sharifs are united? I mean, you've mentioned it several times in your programs about the divisions within the family and the various competing sort of loyalties that are there. And you've also brought up the fact that Imran Khan's party, which has all these, of course, independence and all that, also has another party, which is the King's Party, as you call it, Jahangir, Tareen, and the other gentleman whose name I forget.
Aleem Khan.
So yeah. So what is the game? How do you see it playing out? I mean, and also you're having provincial elections and central elections at the same time. So will Punjab be given to somebody other than the Muslim League,
This
Nawaz?
debate, ironically, only
Sorry for
three
all those questions.
ironically, there was this debate only 3 days back, and I got to know about it from my sources that Nawaz was being convinced that if he becomes the prime minister, then Punjab should have some non-Sharif as the as CM, as the chief minister, and that would look good. But Nawaz is adamant, and he thinks that every time he's made somebody other than the Sharif or other than his own relative as the prime minister or the chief minister, he suffered. He gave the example of Shahid Khan Abbasi. He gave the example of
Hmm.
the in Punjab. So Nawaz is adamant that his daughter should become the chief minister over here, and eventually, in a year or 2 years' time, where he doesn't want to continue, he wants Mariam to step in for him. And that is one of the major reasons why he's come back from UK. I mean, the kind of arrangement and the kind of deal and everything that he is transferring his political capital to his daughter practically in all this time. And he's got a different game plan. And far as the King's Party is concerned, the King's Party hasn't taken off. Now, they may win a few ward seats here and there. Their main leaders, 3 or 4 leaders, will win the seats, and they may win 8 to 9 seats in the provincial assembly. But that's a far cry from what was expected of them. So now, and there is only one reason. Like I was talking to one of them about 2 months back, and he said, "Where have you gone wrong?" I said, "I mean, when you came, and if you had started to bash the Sharifs and the Zardaris and support and said Imran was not able to deliver this and we are going to finish that agenda, then a lot of voters, the PTI supporters would have been confused and they would have sided with you. But now they look at you as traitors and
Hmm.
desert. They don't want to sort of support you in any way. So this King's party, in my opinion, is over. And another party has to emerge immediately after the elections. I think Shahid Khaqan Abbasi, the former Prime Minister, will head that, and there'll be a major faction within the Sharifs now. And the biggest faction will come from there. And then there are some element from People's Party as well, some from Tariq Insaf, and some from this is the calm party of Jahangir, Tareen, and Aleem Khan. They will also form that party. So that party believes, and people who are forming that party, they believe that this government, this parliament will not go beyond 2 years. It is too
Oh,
fragmented. It is too fragmented, and it will be a hung parliament, and it will leave. I mean, it will lead to some chaos and all that, and that is what they think. So in that case, now if they form a party immediately after the elections, they will be in a position in 2 years' time to come and have play a role. Because Nina, this is in many ways, this is going to be the most important elections in Pakistan's history. The
why do
reason
you
being
say that?
because be it Asif Zardari, be it Nawaz Sharif, be it Asfandiar Wali, be it Maulana Fazlur Rahman, be it many others, they are at an age where this will be the last elections for them. So it's a do
Ah,
it.
that way.
So if you look at many family dynasties, they're actually using this election to transfer power to the next generation. And this is a stepping stone to the next
So this
generation. So
applies as much to Maryam Nawaz as it does to Bilawal Bhutto Zardari.
Bilawal, and then Maulana is doing the same for his son, and there are the other people who are doing it to their children and nephews. And
Oh,
I mean, there's a lot of that happening because everybody, age doesn't wait for anyone, time doesn't wait for anyone. It just
that's
moves
true.
on. There's
Yeah.
one point I would like, though it is not relevant to your question, that come what may, post May, I strongly believe that India and Pakistan are bound to have good relations and working relations and trade. And that is so vital for both of them. And I think even today, even this morning, there's been a major terror attack in DI Khan, and many policemen have been killed and many more have been injured over there. We can keep on blaming each other, but I think the time has come where we shared intel with each other and made sure that we can make each other's country safe. If India is safe, then I will be safe. And if I'm safe, India will be safe as well.
That's a very good point. So that Bajwa plan, the which I remember, we talked about after you met Bajwa at that Eid event, where he actually talked about making peace with India, and he had laid out a plan which Imran Khan scuppered. So
Yeah.
do you think that General Asim Munir, shares the same sentiment? Because a lot of people in India believe that he doesn't want peace with India either. Or are we
Look,
wrong?
anybody, I have not talked to Asim Munir about this, so I don't know. But there's one thing I can tell you. Anybody who's from a military background, be it in India, be it Pakistan, be it anywhere, those are the last people who want a war because they
Hmm.
know what war does. And, they are the ones who are giving their lives actually. So, I mean, they're the last ones who will ask for it. And on either side of the border. Fact of the matter is that what General Bajwa had told us, and I can repeat those words to you, he said both India and Pakistan are armed to the teeth, and we can actually damage each other a lot. So now sense must prevail, and we must stop trying to damage each other, and we must have a trade and barter. And General Bajwa, I'll add over here, was he admired the Indian side at that time because I think it was Ajit Deol or somebody, if I'm not wrong, it was Ajit who had spoken to General Faiz at that time, who was the DG
That's
ASF,
right.
and they had sort of made a plan of peace talks, and they had made seven compartments. Kashmir was in one, trade was in one, films was in one, cricket was in one, and there were many like that.
ITBT.
Yeah, and for the first time, the best thing about that plan was that India and Pakistan had both agreed that if talks on Kashmir are not getting anywhere, talks on other issues will continue, and they will not let Kashmir block the talks for anything else, which is very vital because everything stops the moment we start talking about Kashmir, be it India, be it for Pakistan. So it's a political death, practically for either of us. So, I mean, when an army chief talks like that, That is, I think, an institution's policy. It is not an individual's policy. An individual may like an individual or may not like an individual. They're two different things. But the institutional policies are very well thought out and planned and then executed. So I don't see an issue with that, Neela.
So, Mr. Avinash Mohanani, if I can come back to you, do you think that that when these elections are over in May, as you said, do you think there'll be a plan, despite the fragmented electoral verdict that Mubashir is predicting? Do you think that there'd be a more unified view on going ahead with a trade agreement with India, or going down the same path that Nawaz was so close to just before Musharraf blew up Kargil?
Yeah. Nina, if you remember that in your last program, I had said that there will be easing of relationship between India and Pakistan after
That's
these
right.
elections. So as of now, as of today, I would say I would agree with Mubashir that things would move. Things would move between the two countries. And the incident like in Punch and Rajouri, those incidents have happened, may not derail the process if it finally takes a shape. But the problem is that the world is so uncertain now. 3 months down the line, what will happen, what is stand, because the Palestine issue has changed everything. So I would wish and hope that what Mubashir is saying and what I also feel, that both countries will be working together. But whether it will finally come about, it's very difficult to say at this stage because
Do you
so much
think
of
that
uncertainty.
Prime Minister Modi and Ajit Doval have fashioned a Pakistan narrative which it's not obvious to us right now, but that there is something in the works?
One thing is clear that you also said very in your comments or remarks, that the Pakistan issue is out of election propaganda in India.
That's right.
That's a very big thing because last 2019 elections were all Pakistan, Pakistan, Balakot, Balakot, Pulwama, Pulwama. So it's a good thing that this narrative is out of the electoral considerations. And of course, in Pakistan, it doesn't figure much as such. Normally, in the elections, it doesn't figure much.
Yeah.
But here, if it goes out of the election campaign, then it's good for both the countries.
That's
Look at
good.
it this
So
look at it
concluding
this way.
remarks, I've only got a little time left.
Wait a
Mubashir,
minute.
please
I
come in.
just want to add something. I just want to add something
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
If today, I'll give you one benefit Pakistan and one benefit for India. If today the trade was opened between India and Pakistan, the inflation in Pakistan, food inflation, will go down by 40% in 24 hours. That is the benefit we get from getting vegetables and everything from across the border. And if we allow India to trade with Iran and Central Asia and have a gas pipeline or an oil terminal over here, we stand to make money irrespective of what you are eventually going to do it, maybe at a higher cost, but we are not making anything. So if that happens, we also make money. And if you have peaceful relations with Pakistan, then what is stopping you from the ultimately for going for the United Nations permanent seat over there? And a vote. I mean, you'll have the biggest support in that way for you. I mean, all your neighbors, none of them would be objecting to it. So I think it's a win-win situation for both the countries if they learn to shake hands.
But Pakistan's facing huge challenges. I mean, its economy is in disarray. It's got very frayed ties with Afghanistan, and this recent cross-border attack with Iran was very alarming. I mean, do you feel, Mubashir, that these are the things that the Pakistan army has failed to actually tackle, and now you
No.
have this unrest in Balochistan
No,
as well?
Nina, you must understand one thing, whether we like it or not, Iran right now controls the Middle East politics. Because a lot of countries or kingdoms may not like Iran or the Iranian government.
Hmm.
Iran
Hmm.
definitely controls Hezbollah and Hamas and all the elements over there. So primarily that is, I mean, for sure. Now, I think on one day they attacked Syria, they attacked Iraq, and then they had this missile in Pakistan. And Pakistan was the only country that responded, and everything has been calm ever since. But the thing is that I agree with your guest over here that Palestinian issue in the days to come will play a very, very important role, a very significant role. And for the sake of not India and Pakistan, I think for the sake of the world peace, I would hope and pray that the Palestinian issues, all of those issues, they get resolved ASAP, as soon as possible. We can't ignore them.
The fact that this election, if it is as fragmented as Mubashir is saying it is, then will there be a voice in Pakistan that actually is an advocate for peace in the neighborhood? Will that happen, or will it be another? If you're saying 2 years, then this is not going to go very far, is it? Pakistan's not facing a great future then. If you have one strong hand at the helm, like it would be if it was Nawaz Sharif or his brother. But basically Nawaz Sharif. How do you see it evolving? Avinash, so quickly concluding remarks and then Mubashir.
Yeah, I would feel that as Mubashir said, that it's not possible for the two countries to remain in perpetual war with each other or at a continuous Cold War. So it has to finally, that has to come to an end. And if it is better that both the countries agree, otherwise the international opinion will force us to have a dialogue or resolve our differences, because it's very clear that the India is a very strong economy ahead, and Pakistan can become a strong economy, because I consider Pakistanis equally intelligent and equally capable to rise to the occasion and perform. It's only the setup that is making them a little bit weak. So if the two countries agree, there is going to be no issue. Yes, if there is a problem between the military and civilian leadership, I think on this issue, the UAE and the Saudis and the Americans can ask us to leave that aside, outside the political space. Because if the political leadership does something, the propaganda machinery in Pakistan is controlled by the army. So if
I can come back to you, Mubashir, finally, for the final comments. Do you think that Imran Khan has the ability to upend this whole arrangement, this whole hybrid regime that is being concocted? Does he have the ability? Because he is immensely popular, as Avinash and I were discussing earlier. He does have this, he's tapped into the anti-army sentiment and the anti-America sentiment. And could that in the future be seen as something that could blow up in everybody's face? Because the fact is that we need a stable Pakistan as much as the world needs a stable Pakistan.
Nina, I don't know about India, but I can tell you about Pakistan. In Pakistan, we really can't predict about the future. We can only predict about the past and what has happened in the past. We are very good at predictions over there. Now, but having said that, for Imran Khan to play a significant role, he has to really rethink and revisit his strategy, political strategy so far for the past 10, 14 years, actually, which will need a major transformation. And let me add over here that if you see that this caretaker setup has gone on for a long period of time, much longer than those 45 days of caretaker government. And there've been nothing against them. Nobody is protesting against them. Nobody is telling that they should go home. So Imran was popular on his own. Yes, he was a popular leader. And suddenly his popularity went through the sky because his popularity group was joined by those who hated the Sharifs and the Zardaris. So a lot of people support Imran, not because they like Imran, but because they don't like the opposition that is over there, and they didn't like the PDM government that was there. So they are silent about the caretaker setup right now, but they would be very vocal when the next setup comes in. But come what may, I think we are going through a very trying period, and
Hmm.
very kindly, Mr. Avinash has given us a lot of credit. Usually, I don't give us that much of credit that he has given us. Right now, I must say on record that India is the third biggest economy of the world, and you don't become the third biggest economy of the world by being a non-serious country. And by being a country that doesn't have a clear business plan ahead of it. So the huge success of India, and we are not even trying to compare with it. But what we can do over here is we can learn from our past mistakes and hope not to repeat them. And one of the mistakes would be not to let the system go on and to derail the system. I hope
Hmm.
time will prove me wrong, and this prediction of mine is absolutely thrown out of the window. That is all that I can hope for.
Thank you very much, Mubashir Lukman, for that wonderful analysis. And thank you, Mr. Avinash Mohani. Thank you, both of you.